Hello and welcome to the Watering Hole. Thanks for checking out this clip. Don't forget to like and subscribe because that'll make the baby Jesus cry, and I know how much you guys love making the baby Jesus cry.
Apparently.
Okay. Anyway, let's do some tweets, shall we? So,
I guess.
we're going to start with Laura Lumer, who we're getting back into the bridge thing. It says, breaking,
Oh boy.
confirmed Islamic terrorist attack near the U.S.-Canada border at the Rainbow Bridge in Niagara Falls. Shut the border down. A huge vehicle explosion has taken place at the U.S.-Canada border in Niagara Falls. The FBI is warned of a fluid situation. All 4 international border crossings between the U.S. and Canada have been closed following the explosion. Okay. First and foremost, as a Niagara resident, yeah, I get the urge to think of the 4 crossings in Niagara as being the only 4 crossings between Canada and the US, but like, no, there's a lot of fucking crossings between Canada and the US that are not Niagara.
Yeah. Also, so real quick,
I'm
being asked in my chat how to pronounce your new subscriber's name. Apparently,
which one?
Started with an R.
Razor Storm? No, it wouldn't be Razor Storm. Or Rovey Learn?
Rovey Learn. Thank you. I'm going to use that forever now.
Sure.
Okay. Anyways.
Okay.
So her source on this is just
also,
she made it the fuck up.
Yeah, she made it the fuck up because, like, confirmed Islamic terrorist attack. It's like they haven't confirmed the identities of the people that crashed their car, much less the religion of the people who crashed the car. Like,
don't you understand? The car was a color. That means it
was white. It was white supremacy.
Jesus.
Because we saw the car. We all saw the car.
It was definitely white. That means Muslim. That means confirmed is that this is 9/11/2, Rhino. And if you don't believe it was 9/11/2, then that makes you not a patriotic American.
9/11/2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yes. We won't stop until the towers do.
So on yesterday's stream with my partner, where we were reading the Christian marriage book, she compared women working outside of the home to the 9/11 of marriage. It was ridiculous. I was wrong. Like, I thought she was going to go to gay marriage is the 9/11 of marriage, but no, it was women working outside the home, basically.
Oh, fun. Fun. Jesus. Why are people? Why is Laura Lumer? Like, just not even any descriptor besides that. Why is she?
Why is Laura?
So I would say that this proves that she's not a real reporter, but the fact that
is
Fox
she a
News
reporter? Does she work for Fox?
Let's see here. Does she?
I don't know who she is. I just saw this tweet come up when I was like looking for actual information on this.
Oh no, she's just a white nationalist.
Okay. I was going to say
an American far-right political activist.
I've seen her name before, but I couldn't remember who she was. So I'm just like, that's a ridiculous take. It needs to go on Twit Tweets.
I wonder who she thinks she actually like confirmed this from.
She doesn't say. People ask her and she doesn't confirm how she confirmed it.
Oh, she was a former Project Veritas operative. That's where I recognize her.
She's a white supremacist. Okay, great.
That's where I recognize her name from. Captain Squid said she was the one who chained herself to Twitter HQ's door because she got banned for Islamophobia. Oh, boy.
That sounds like fun.
Oh, boy.
Oh, apparently Laura Lumer came close to winning the Herman Cain Award. I mean, given the quality of her tweets, maybe it would have been better for the world if she had. You know what the Herman Cain Award is, right?
Dying of COVID while being a Republican?
Or while being anti-vax and whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway. Carrie Lake says, this may have been an attempted terror attack along our northern border. If so, our worst fears are being realized. Joe Biden is inviting this kind of chaos into our country. It was only a matter of time before bad people took him up on his offer. So this is part of the pivot when they realized that it was someone that was already in the States rather than someone trying to get into the States. It's like,
Yeah.
first off, when it was first announced, everybody was like, "Oh, well, they were trying to get it in the States and they couldn't, so they crashed their car into the inspection booth and blew it up, and so therefore it's a terrorist attack." And when that happened, they were like, "Oh, well, it's because of Joe Biden's open borders. See, they're even trying to get in from the north now."
Oh
But then
my
when it came out
God.
that like, "Oh no, they were just in the States and they didn't even make it out of the States," they
Did,
pivoted to it's people that came in from the southern border because of Joe Biden's open border policy are now attacking the northern border.
do these people just think that Canadians are snow Mexicans?
Yes.
So all the
This is
racist rhetoric
this is
for
going to
one
be
should be
so
able to work for the other?
Vivek Ramaswamy said that he wanted to build a wall in between Canada and the US as well. I bet you he's going to use this as evidence that the wall should be built between Canada and the US. But also, this was not Carrie Lake's first tweet on the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Her first tweet contained a typo, which, if she was doing it from her phone, it would be a very hard typo to do unless she was in the habit of using the word that she got autocorrected to. Because she used a slur for Jewish people, one that starts with a K. It was like, it looks like it might, it looks like, but it wasn't like, it was same word but with a K. It's like, that's one of those words that, like, if I type that into my phone, it autocorrects it to things that are not that slur. And so the fact that that tweet made it through kind of suggests that her autocorrect is used to her saying that.
She's used it more than a few times lately.
Yeah.
It's like any time that somebody goes, "Why is Twitter advertising these depraved things to me? Why am I seeing femboys in tight pants? This is horrible. This is unchristian." Meanwhile, their search history shows that there's a reason they're saying it.
Yeah. But anyways, when somebody posted a screenshot of the original tweet, she responded with, "There may have been a terrorist attack along our northern border, violence brought about by policies that you've enabled, and you're fixated on a typo." I guess this is someone that used to be a representative. The American people are blessed that you are no longer representing them. So it's like, yeah, sure, her original tweet contained a typo that would have been very hard to make if you have autocorrect on, if autocorrect doesn't already know that you use that slur all the time.
I don't think autocorrect's ever given me that slur.
No.
Ever.
No.
Like, this just it's based off an algorithm, and that algorithm needs to see you typing those things a few times first before it knows that this is probably what you meant. It's probably what you meant.
Ooh. Okay. Well, so the Hollywood sign is proof of the Nephilim says, does she use an iPhone? It used to autocorrect bigger to N-word right out of the box when I worked for Radio Shack.
Can someone make my iPhone not racist, please?
So, in Canada, Radio Shack has been bankrupt for a number of years now, so I'm going to assume that this is old stuff that, like, is no longer the case. Yeah, Neuron is explaining, I think it's the word you get when you replace the L in like with a K. Yes, it is. It's some kind of slur, but to be honest, I've only ever heard it, like, once, and I'm not sure what it means. It's just a derogatory way of referring to Jewish people. It's like the N-word, but for Jewish people.
It's one of the words that the guy who gave me that really terribly done death threat tried to call me, because apparently I look Jewish enough.
It's because of your big nose on your avatar.
I guess so. It's definitely the nose is the big part. 100%.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could. Do we want to get into comparing our tits to each other again?
I mean,
it's like I've got some pretty nice man boobs going on.
You've got the mooba. You've got the mooba. You're good.
I mean, so do you, though, right?
Yeah, look, cheeseburgers.
Let's be real here. We're both carrying a 6-pack, not a keg. Or no, we're both carrying a keg, not a 6-pack. Like, I make no. I don't try to hide the fact that I am not. I don't have a gym bod. I have a dad bod.
I've not been able to make a gym bod at the gym, and I'm still coming to terms with that.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on from the
God damn
the
it! Are
explosion.
we gonna see Wendell every time now?
I think he's like the apologist, Nick. What's his name? Nick, the guy that I don't cover anymore because he's too much of a troll. Nick Adams. He's like the apologist Nick Adams, where like everything he says is just so fucking stupid, but it's funny. He says, "We are made in the image of God, not in the image of evolution." What does that even mean? What would the image of evolution even mean?
Don't you understand? Darwin is the god, and he preaches from on high about how we need to preserve the favored races. And if you don't believe that, then you're not a real evolutionist. Checkmate, Athey Tits.
Okay, sure. But like, I don't know. What does the in the image of evolution even mean? What does the image of God even mean, for that matter?
I mean, I understand when they say the image of God, they mean that like he made humans to emulate him and his qualities, which says a whole lot about the way we kill each other.
Yeah, but that's the thing though, is that, like they always want to blame anything humans do that is bad on the fall, and anything that's good is because we're in the image of God. But like everything that they come up with that is good is something that is demonstrated in the animal kingdom, at least to a rudimentary level.
Yep.
So it's like there really is no distinction between us and the other animals. I don't know. He recently he called Jackson Wheat out because Jackson Wheat is doing a stream where they're talking about a bunch of his tweets. And he was like, "Oh yeah, sure, you're gonna like I'm living rent free in your brain, buddy." And Jackson was like, "Well, you know what? I'd love to have you onto a stream to actually like talk to you, but I know you're too much of a coward for that." And notably, he did not reply to that one. Oh, Lord of Uzclack solved it. The image of evolution is a crab.
We have to evolve to crab.
Yeah, everything has to evolve
You're right.
to crab. Crab is the final form.
Crab.
Crab is the final form.
If you're not evolving to crab, you're not doing it right.
Exactly. So humans are not doing it right. We are definitely not in the image of crab. Okay, we still need like $100.10 to get it to 5,200. Or would that be 5,300? I don't know. Just give lots of money. I've had too much beer to do math, so give money to make my math better. Like give the amount of money that I say, and then tell me that I'm wrong with my answer to prove me wrong with math. It's not going to be like $5,099.90 plus $310.10 equals $5,200. Prove me wrong by giving $310.10 or whatever the fuck I just said. I don't know. I can't keep track of what I'm saying. Anyway, the transformed wife.
Hi, Lori. How's it going?
So this is a quote from Lindsay Harold. It says, "You're not allowed to say what men prefer. Women get mad when you say that men have preferences. They especially get mad if you say that men prefer women who don't have vices. Well, you know what? I'm a vice rhino, so I like women with vices." And you know what? My woman's got some vices, and I like those vices. They're fun. I like your awkward silence there. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I have no follow-up to that. I have no follow-up to that. There's also a very lengthy tweet from Lori, so I'm...
Yeah. Well, she says, "You're supposed to pretend that women can do whatever they want and men will love it." Okay. Sidebar here. Forget the rest of the tweet for the moment. How about women do whatever they want and don't worry about whether or not men will like it? Like, because women can be people in and of themselves. So, like, just do what you want to do. And if men don't like that, that's a them problem, not a you problem.
Like, I will say this. There is a little merit to doing things that your partner will like, but trying to argue that all women need to be cognizant of what all men like, as if either of these are monoliths we can define well enough to make those assumptions anyway is stupid.
Yeah. So you're supposed to pretend that sins and bad habits have no consequences. Well, I mean, depends on the sin, because like sin is kind of a made up concept where like if you're not religious, sin doesn't even really exist. But like if the sin is like say adultery, if my partner cheats on me, I will be upset by that. I will not love that. And sure, the Bible calls that a sin. However, we're not married. So there's plenty of things that we do now that the Bible also calls a sin that I'm perfectly fine with that.
Let's see here. You're supposed to pretend that sins are bad. Sins and bad habits have no consequences.
At least when women do them.
Look, a sin is just anything that pisses God off. That's all it is.
Since God doesn't exist, nothing is sinful. So as long as it's
look,
legal, have fun.
If I pretend it's sinful, it's hotter.
Okay, fair. There can be some of that in there.
So I have mixed fabrics. Who wants to sin with me? Ah, yes. Let's mix our fabrics together.
And Fight Mage Studio says, "Hey, fun fact: virtually everything has consequences. It's called cause and effect." Yeah, that too. But yeah, like I am wearing mixed fabrics now. I've got stuff in my garden. Like I've got different kinds of plants planted together in my garden.
Did you just say
Come
kinds?
at me, bro. Yeah.
You're an atheist, and you just agreed there are kinds.
Well, what's really funny about that is the Bible says not to breed your cattle with a different kind, which is kind of a pointless, it's kind of a pointless command if it's impossible for different kinds to breed together.
Which they would know already if they understood God's perfect creation.
Yeah.
Like God made them so they couldn't do that, right? At least that's what we thought.
Yeah. Anyway, the rest of this is just, like, we've gotten to the meat of this. The rest of this is just fluff.
The rest is Lori Alexander yelling?
Well, I mean, it's Lindsay Harold yelling while Lori Alexander quotes it, but yeah.
I make no distinctions. She said the words. They came from her mouth as far as I care.
So Sakura says, did they mean different breeds of cattle by kind, or did they mean no breeding cows with zebra? They meant different kinds of cows, different breeds of cows. However, because creationists get so hung up on the word kind, they don't like the fact that that particular command in most English translations of the Bible, it translates it as thou shalt, like, you shall not breed your cattle with a different kind or a diverse kind or whatever. Like it uses the word kind, and creationists don't like that.
Creationists don't like a lot of the language we would use.
I mean, they try to get around that because technically the word kind in that verse is using a different word in Hebrew than the word kind that is in the verses that they're
understand it.
Well, no, the word kind that's in the verses that they take to mean like, animals can't evolve outside their kind. But then that just brings it back to like, well, okay, then the Bible is incorrectly translated, in which case God sucks because he can't correctly translate his own book.
In which case it's not the perfect word of God.
Yeah. So,
and now we've all got to be sad collectively together.
They're kind of fucked no matter which way it goes on that one. Rick Carter says, serious question. If gender and sex are not related, what's the point of trying to change your sex? I really hope you reconsider, as you will regret doing this to yourself. This was in response to a person announcing that they are going to undergo some gender affirming surgery.
Okay. I can, like, it's very easy to answer this. Why would somebody want to, if somebody's brain meats are telling them repeatedly, something is wrong, 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 then what you're incentivized to do is to make that something right. You go, oh, my body feels incorrect. Or also valid, my body feels correct when I think of it this way instead. Mm-hmm. So like with any other form of body modification, you do the modification that makes you feel happier and more comfortable with your body.
Also, just taking it from the outset, if gender and sex are not related, who's saying they're not related? Like, we're saying they're not the same thing. They are not synonyms. That does not mean that they are not related.
No, there's definitely like there is a correspondence between them. We have gender roles that we associate with the sexes. We have phenotypical expressions that we expect out of the sexes, generally speaking. Like they are linked.
Yeah.
They are not necessarily. They do not always correlate with one another.
They are related, but they are not exact synonyms, which is why we have two different words for that. But also, like, I really hope you reconsider, as you'll regret doing this to yourself. First off, who the fuck asked you? This is not your decision to make. This is someone else. Like, why are you pretending to care about what someone else does to their own body? You're just grandstanding, virtue signaling, if you will. But also, like, when it's been studied, people that have undergone gender affirming surgeries overwhelmingly do not regret it. Like, the regret rate is significantly lower than like people that get surgery for knees, like to make their knees not hurt, or people that get breast implants, or like pretty much any surgery. Like, this gender affirming surgery is one of the least regretted surgeries that exists. And that includes like mastectomy to save you from breast cancer. So fuck off with your "you'll regret doing this to yourself" bullshit. Anyway, go to research.vicerunner.com to see my list of trans-related research, which includes a bunch of stuff about the regret and how this argument is complete bullshit. Elon Musk, free speech absolutist, who says everybody should be allowed to say whatever the fuck they want, including fucking Nazis, says the split-second court opens on Monday. X Corporation, Twitter, will be filing a thermonuclear lawsuit against Media Matters and all those who colluded in this fraudulent attack on our company. If you're unaware, Media Matters published a thing where they showed that a bunch of companies' advertisements were showing up next to literal Nazi tweets and other far-right extremists. And their whole argument in the lawsuit is basically, oh, but they had to refresh the page a bunch of times to get that. It didn't just happen on the first try. But it still showed up. Like, they're not saying they faked the screenshots. They're saying they refreshed it until they got what they wanted. But that still means that they're showing up organically.
You know, it's funny. From what I could see, the split-second courts opened on Monday. He didn't even file the lawsuit then when he said he would, didn't he?
Well, I don't know. He did file the lawsuit. I don't know exactly the timing on that.
Let me see here.
I did look for it. I debated whether or not to use this as one of the news topics.
Let's say here he made good on the promise. Oh, it was late Monday. He filed the suit late Monday. Okay, so He did file it, and he did file it on Monday, but not the split second that the courts opened up.
He filed it eventually. He got around to it, but whatever. That's not the part I take issue with. The part I take issue with is the fact that, like, he claims to be a free speech absolutist. Anyone can say whatever the fuck they want on my platform, unless it is something that I or the platform does not like. So,
but it's bad though. It's bad when other people say bad things about me and my org. Don't you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes it bad. Yet, I do hope Media Matters gets to depose him or use anti-slap to take him down a peg or two. Or to peg him.
No, he might like that one. Don't give him what might be pleasurable to him. Yeah. Might be.
Yeah, well, he'd never be able to publicly admit that he liked it.
Dan says, do we have a follow-up tweet from Elon about the 1,000 graves with him and a katana? Oh, yeah, that one where he's like, so many of my enemies lay in large graveyards.
Yeah, but like also if you're not familiar with Musk, he he responded to a very, very anti-Semitic tweet with "You speak the truth."
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Like this is one of the things that I've been seeing a lot is that people are like, "Oh, nobody's condemning Facebook or Reddit or whatever when they like have anti-Semitism on their platform." It's like, yeah, but the owners of that platform aren't like responding to the anti-Semitism with "You speak truth." So there's a bit of a difference there, just a little bit. Anyway,
Hey.
John McReynolds says, if a bad experience with a Christian makes you publicly criticize and avoid the church, why doesn't a good experience with one make you publicly praise and embrace it? Well, first
Because
off,
human beings, as a survival mechanism, tend to focus more on our negative experiences because that allows us to live through bad times.
okay, yeah, there's that.
Like,
But there's
I don't know
also
on the face of it.
there's also the fact that if an organization that claims to be representing the all-powerful God of the universe, like that should be a flawless organization. They should not have a single instance of anyone doing anything wrong because they are ordained by the God of the universe to be the correct organization. Like anyone that does something wrong should be immediately out. Like, nope, you're done. You're gone here. You don't get to speak for us anymore. But that's not what we see.
As an example here, though, I can strip this away from all religious pretext for a moment just to make it really, really simple for a lot of people. If you have a lot of good experiences with your uncle, but the thing you talk about is the fact that your uncle raped you, nobody in their right minds would say, but what about all the good times with your uncle?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody understandably would focus on the really bad thing that they did to you. That would be the topic of conversation. It's the same thing with the church. I mean, hell, it's perfectly allegorical because the church is in a position of power over you 99.9% of the time.
So Fight Mage Studio kind of focuses in on the problem here where he says it's never a bad experience, though. So if we go to the second tweet from this, everybody replied with a bunch of experiences that they had. And he says, the replies to this are very interesting, thank you. Not only do I hear your reasoning and really unfortunate testimonies, but I also see how you even interpreted what I asked. When I said Christian, some of you jumped to Christian leader. When I said a bad experience, some of you jumped to years of trauma. And some automatically view someone with a bad experience as a victim. Not sure what to do with all this yet, but it's really interesting. So now,
I mean, it makes it worse for you.
So I hope that this person is honestly taking this feedback and like considering their position and like this might lead to a deconstruction moment for them or whatever. But like, yeah, no, it's never a bad experience. Like people don't become atheists because I had one single bad experience with the church. It's a pattern of behavior. It's not only did I have a bad experience, but the church sided with the person who made me a victim. The church protected them at my expense. So like it's not a matter of like, yeah, sure, if you narrow it down to people who had one single bad experience with one single Christian person who is not a Christian leader and became atheists, like if you find the one or two people that happened to, then yeah, maybe it sounds kind of ridiculous. But like if you take it as a whole, where it's like, no, I became an atheist because there was a pattern of bad experiences with the church that caused years of trauma for me.
Yeah,
like
most people
that's something that if God existed, he could prevent.
Most people don't go, the preacher had one bad sermon, and now I don't believe in God. Like that's typically not what happens.
Well, I think what happened here is this person was like, they were probably insulated in a Christian environment where like, oh, the atheist had like their mom died of cancer, therefore they became an atheist. Or they had like one person in the church who claimed they were a Christian, did something bad to them, and therefore they became an atheist. And so when he was confronted with like, oh no, actually it's a whole systemic problem within the church as a whole, and it's being perpetrated by Christian leaders, not just the flock, then it became, I don't know what to do with that. So I'm just going to like narrow the what's the word?
Narrow the factors down.
Sure. Factors. That's not the word I was looking for. whatever. I'll figure it out. I'll think of the word at like 3 a.m. this morning. I'll sit straight up like they do in the movies and be like, it was this.
Hold on.
Criteria. Narrow the criteria.
Get the doggos in. They just started doing a bark.
Started doing a bark. You leave me to shit. You leave me to bring the dogs in. Like, God, you just abandoning me to the stream, pretending like I know what I'm doing when I'm by myself. Yeah, Less Than Lewis has said moving the goalposts. Yeah, absolutely. He's moving the goalposts. But the way that this is worded makes me think that like he might actually be considering what people are saying. So like this might lead to some deeper introspection on his part. Yeah, at least I hope.
You can hope that.
But
like ultimately when you're dealing with people like this who seem to be insulated from the church, what you hope is that they internalize the experiences of others as opposed to making up apologia for how they can dismiss those experiences. Oftentimes we find them trying to make up the apologia though.
Yeah. Anyway, Answers in Genesis as Charles Darwin was not a trained scientist, and he even admitted that admitted in his publications and to his colleagues that his lack of knowledge was a loss in his own understanding of what he was observing.
Cool. So he was an autodidact like a whole lot of other people, and we don't base all of our shit off of him like the Bible.
Yeah, so here's the thing with that. First off, there's been 160 years of research into evolution since Darwin, so like, yeah, maybe he wasn't a scientist per se, but the scientists since his time have been like, oh yeah, he was actually right, and have confirmed it like experimentally and theoretically, and like every possible way you could confirm something, they have confirmed evolution. But also like, this is just them using his politeness against him. Because if you read his letters when people like challenged him on things, he would always like open with like, hey, you're a really smart person. I have a lot of respect for you. If someone's going to prove me wrong, I'm glad it's going to be you because you're fucking amazing. And like, I am nothing compared to you. But, and then after the but, he would very politely completely eviscerate whatever objection they had. And a lot of times he was completely right in whatever he was saying. So they take everything he says before the but, which is just him being polite, and be like, oh yeah, he admitted that he didn't know much. It's like, yeah. And like, yeah, he wasn't trained as a scientist in the same way that we would think of it today.
It's quote mining.
Yeah.
Is what it really boils down to.
Essentially, yeah. But I'm actually working on a video now where I'm responding to Matt Powell again. And I thought it was going to be a quick and easy video, but like everything that he says has led me down this like complete rabbit trail of like, oh my God, this is so much worse than I thought it was going to be. Like I thought it was just going to be this is one finding that it doesn't quite fit with the rest of it and creates an interesting new topic of research. But it's like, oh no, this is actually like someone that has zero experience in paleontology, publishing a paleontology thing in a microscopy journal instead of paleontology. And the reason he's doing that is because he's not letting a single paleontologist examine any of his finds, and he's not confirming it with anyone that has any sort of expertise in it. Oh yeah, and by the way, he got his degree from the Institute for Creation Research.
Oh, so he got it from a degree mill.
Yeah, so it's... And like everything that Matt says, like I thought it was going to be an easy video, but like everything that Matt has said has been like, oh no, I've had to go down this extensive rabbit trail of chasing down every reference. Because like one of the studies was like, hey, this actually sounds kind of fascinating if it's true. And then I'm reading it and I'm like, why haven't I heard of this before? And then I kind of looked and was like, oh, it's been cited by like 4 other people. Why has such groundbreaking research only been cited 4 times? Okay, let's see who's been citing it. Oh, only the author of the original paper has been citing this. That's a big red flag.
They've been citing themselves?
Yeah, that's all it is. They've just been citing their own research. And it turns out that like the dinosaur bone that he examined is probably not even a dinosaur. It's probably a bison from the Ice Age from like 20,000 years ago.
No, it's a dinosaur bone. It's proof that dinosaurs walked with men.
Yeah, no.
But it's 20,000 years ago, so it's not actually. It's actually been planted by God to test
it's
your
crazy. Like I said, I thought it was going to be something easy, and I've been working, like, every single point has been like, oh, this is an extra rabbit trail where I need to spend a lot of time explaining how I got to where I am. Anyway,
You don't get the easy jobs.
vaginal desiccant Ben Shapiro says, this is legitimately one of the worst campaign blunders I have seen. Everything about it is idiotic. He's gripping the table as though he's about to keel over. He's got a rictus smile. I assume that's supposed to be ridiculous. Illuminated by fire. This cake looks like somebody set the world on fire, which he did. I would agree that cake is ridiculous. Like, Biden's 81 years old and they got 81 candles on the thing and it looks like he's up in flames.
That cake is going to be nothing but wax by the time he's done.
But also, like, when I turn 81, I want someone to count out 81 candles and put them in it and light it with a blowtorch like that. That would be fun. Why not? But also, like, he's gripping the table as though he's about to keel over. Like, no, he's just got his hands on either side of the table. He's got the ridiculous smile, I think he's trying to say.
A rictus. It's a smile for somebody gets when they have rigor mortis.
Oh, no, that's not what that looks like.
Like he's a corpse or something, I guess.
No, I mean, like, the dude's old. I would much rather have a younger candidate running for office. But, like, so the thing about that is that he is the incumbent, and if he steps aside, then that gives Trump a much better chance. So, like, fuck, we're stuck with the old guy or Trump, essentially. So, like, yeah, I'll take the old guy who actually has done some progressive shit. Like, he actually, so to Biden's credit, he ended up being way more progressive than anybody thought he was going to be.
A lot of people assumed that because he's Catholic, he was going to end up on the wrong side of things, like the Roe v. Wade issue, and
yeah,
it ended up not being the case.
Yeah. So, but, like, I don't know. I wouldn't say that that's, like, the worst campaign blunder I've ever seen. Like,
having a bad birthday picture. That's your campaign blunder.
I mean, I think it's pretty fun. Like, whoever is in charge of Biden's social media stuff, like, they understand how memes work and they do a good job with it. So, like, this is meant to be meme worthy, and it is. So, they succeeded. But also, like, just a reminder, Ben Shapiro is a vaginal desiccant. So
he needs it nice and dry, like his well-done steaks.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, a wet vagina is a sign of disease. His wife told him that, so it must be true.
his doctor wife.
His wife's a doctor, and she told him that.
Doctor.
Yeah, no, the reason my vagina is always dry is because, you know, wet vagina is a sign of disease. So it's not that you can't please me. And he proudly announced that on social media. And now he's complaining that Biden is bad at social media because he took a picture of himself with a, like, flamethrower cake.
He lost the war of the memes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's Ben Shapiro. Of course he lost the war of the memes. He doesn't know what he's doing with it.
Jesus Christ. So Ben Shapiro, master of self, owns. Look, one of my favorite clips on the internet is the H-bomber guy. Who are they going to sell the house?
Who are they going to sell the house to, Ben?
Aquaman!
Love H-bomber guy.
One of my favorite videos on the internet.
Absolutely.
So let's say, for the sake of argument, that all of the water levels around the world rise by let's say 5 feet over the next 100 years, say 10 feet by the next 100 years, and it puts all the low-lying areas on the coast underwater, right? Which, let's say all of that happens. You think that people aren't going to just sell their homes and move?
Just one small problem. Sell their houses to who, Ben? Fucking Aquaman!
It's like, oh yeah, if their houses flood out, they'll just sell their houses and move somewhere else. Like, yeah, sure, Ben. That's exactly what they'll do.
I wonder what the speculative market for underwater homes looks like.
I don't know. Why don't you ask the guys at the company that sent the Titan sub down?
Let's just make sure that all of our bolts are tightened, not with heavy duty machinery, but by hand.
And
that'll make sure that
drive
they're
around
nice
with
and
the
perfect.
PlayStation controller.
That one is what the United States military does, though.
Yeah, I know. All right.
It sounds ridiculous.
I mean, if it works, it works, but it didn't work for the Titan sub.
No, it didn't.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for donating the money that you guys donated. Donate more. Project Share needs our help. They do a lot of good with this money, so please give money. And as always, fuck off. Yeah, that's my sign off.
Just the question. Fuck off question mark?
I don't fucking know what I'm doing, okay? I'm better than the governor of New York's live stream person. You didn't see an infinite repeat of me and Surus as the last word that we said was like being amplified and repeated and everything. So there's
That's fair.
As always, fuck off.